Welcome to We Know Marketing, We Promise, the podcast where strategy meets conversation. We're Naomi and Kelsey, two agency owners who live and breathe branding and marketing. We're here to share real stories, smart strategies, and fresh ideas to help you build a brand that actually works. So grab a seat and your favorite drink and let's dive on in.
Okay, we're back.
We're back, and today we're going to talk about, is your brand sending mixed signals?
And we haven't even noted on the fact that we do have video now, so
What up?
we're going to have some episodes now that you guys can see us. Well, not that you want to.
This is the best day. Friday, end of a long week, 4:30, and we're still working.
And my mangled finger I can't even bend. Okay, so today we are talking about if you are sending mixed signals with your brand. So this can be internally with your team.
Yep.
Like, does your team understand understand the brand that they work for? Are you sending mixed signals externally when you're having conversations with people? And then I can talk about the social media side where I see this happening all the time.
If you're listening to this and you're like, I think my brand is not sending any mixed signals, well, one, good for you, but two, this is a good test to see if you're good. One, can everybody on your team explain what you do, like what the business does, and everybody's answer be somewhat the same?
Yeah.
One, and
with
then,
like your unique value.
yeah,
Okay.
like not just saying like, well, we do social media,
Yeah.
or we make logos, right?
I wonder if my team would know. I need to ask them.
Now you know. Okay. So yeah, if everybody on the team can say what the business does, and it doesn't all have to sound exactly the same, but it all has to sound like they're talking about the same place.
Yeah.
Two, do potential leads or clients know what you do? Or are you getting ghosted a lot? And then three, are you getting clients that are not your ideal client or are expecting things to be maybe a little bit cheaper?
Yeah.
That could be you sending out some mixed signals to the public. That's just a quick overview.
Oh, those are the things for them to do to check and see if they are on brand. Okay.
Well, that's just to see, like, give you a little gut check. Are you sending out mixed signals or not?
Okay. And why is it bad if you're sending mixed signals?
Well, if you reference episode 2, I think it's 2 or 3, why we want to sound like a broken record. We want to repeat the same thing over and over and over again in different ways so that people, when they think about what you do, you're the first one that comes to mind. It's just building that consistency muscle. So That's why if your team is all saying different things, that's not a good look, because you also can't control what they're saying. Like when they're out getting drinks with friends and they're like, well, what do you do? And they're like, oh, I do social media. Mm-hmm. And then that's the end of the line, or they don't talk about.
I mean, that's what I say sometimes, especially depending on the crowd. It's like,
yeah, of course. But if they're at a networking event, they should all kind of be sounding,
for sure, yeah,
the same.
But if I'm like, meeting some new friends or something in a non-work setting, it's like, I'm not going to get into strategic social media and how that's different with this new dude named Bob.
Have you ever met a dude named Bob? I've never met a dude named Bob.
I met a guy named Robert, but he went by Bob, not Rob.
That takes some guts, I think, to be like,
I was like, wait, what?
My name is Bob.
But aren't like David sometimes called Bobs too?
I don't know.
Maybe not. I don't know. That's another.
That's a rabbit hole. If anybody knows, please drop a comment on this episode.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Usually when we're working with a client, when we go through the whole brand strategy, we give them all pretty much bios that they can copy and paste into their LinkedIn. And then also one-liners that they can put into social, like Instagram bios and things like that. It just kind of helps everybody be succinct. Mm-hmm. And what usually happens in those meetings when we present, it's not just the owner, but the whole team is like, oh, we finally have something that we can
lean on.
This is how we can explain this.
Yeah.
Or it's just copy and pasting rather than your whole team trying to make it up on their own on the fly, and you don't
based on what you're telling them.
Yeah. But you also don't know what they're fully saying after, they may do that the first few months of working with you, but after a year, they're not going to be like, what should I say that we do to so-and-so?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because you should know what you do by then.
Yeah, by that time. Yeah, that's interesting. So I'm curious, I think after you go through a rebrand or you get a new name, all of that, what I've noticed with my own business is that my tagline and some of my messaging has shifted since when I first launched Stevie 2 years ago.
Yeah.
How do you go about that without sending mixed signals? Because I feel like I just started talking and using the messaging, but I haven't really updated the document. So then when I'm doing trainings for my team, it's all on the old documents. It's not the new stuff that I've been doing. So kind of explain how to do that, and is that okay that I even did that, and is that causing a ton of confusion or mixed signals to...
I think it's natural for businesses to evolve, right? So especially when we're messaging or as we grow in business and we're niching down even more, I think it's natural that your messaging slightly starts to tweak and you start to pivot and you're like, okay, that's working. That's how people understand it quickly. Because the problem is sometimes we know our industry so well, but people don't know our industry that want to work with us. So how are we saying things that make sense for them? And I'd keep that doc updated as much as possible, or at least have a one-sheeter that's a quick overview. I like to give those to clients too, quick overview, here's a short little snippet, here's a long snippet. And then one thing that we're starting to work on is also writing out the descriptions of their services. And then also adding that this is ideal for, and this is not ideal for, so that they can have it under each service for people.
Yeah, that makes sense.
To just kind of enforce that red velvet rope policy even more.
The what?
The red velvet rope.
Red velvet robe. Yes. Okay.
Rope. Okay. Yeah. So what you want to do with your brand is you essentially want a bouncer for your club. Your business is the club, and you want a bouncer that is saying, you come in, you go out. You come in, you go out. Because...
And is the bouncer in a red velvet robe?
Rope, not robe.
I'm wow. This is really visual. Do I ever understand you? No.
Okay. We're leaving that.
Red velvet rope?
Yes. When they let you in.
Oh, okay. I've clearly not been to clubs. Let's just be real here. I have no idea what this red velvet rope was. That's why I was like, well, I guess it makes more sense for him to be in a robe.
You're is he taking off the robe? Is he putting it on?
I'm this is interesting. I thought it was a luxury experience, but you're no, this is...
Are you in or are you out?
Are you in or are you out? Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. So what would you recommend, if they are giving mixed signals, what do you do?
You all need to get in alignment.
Okay, so what does that look like?
Well, either you hire a brand strategist, or it's usually when things are not in alignment, it's because the CEO, who's the visionary, has not set the vision, has not sat down to say, this is what we're all about, and this is why we're doing this. Everybody get on the boat or get off the boat. BOAT boat.
Okay. Get off the boat, get in the boat. Are you going forward with us or not? Because the visionary hasn't set the vision. So then once the vision is set, then everyone is in theory aligned. And so you would update all the documentation, all the documents that are within their brand folder. And then everyone would need to refer back to that anytime there. Maybe if you haven't done an alignment meeting with your team lately, it's time to do that. Maybe it's,
Well, but first you need to figure out what that is, what that is for your business.
Exactly.
So you can either do it by yourself, or you could like this is what I help people do.
Yeah.
That's the brand strategy, is understanding who we are, what we do, and why we're doing this.
And you would meet with like the CEO or the whole team? Like, what does that look like?
So what we've been doing is we started doing, so it typically used to be a 4-hour meeting, and now we've spliced it. So the first 2 hours are with the CEO owner, and then another day, 2 hours, is with the CEO owner and the team.
Okay.
That way we're getting input from the CEO without them feeling like they have to be a little bit more guarded around their team.
Yeah.
And then also we're getting input from the team who's probably more hands-on or closer to their clients.
Yeah, experiencing it more. That's great. So then from there, you're able to get enough information to help them just culminate this list of phrases, or like for their messaging. Like, what does that even look like?
It's a brand messaging framework. It's just saying, like, this is how we talk about ourselves. This is what we should sound like. This is what we should not sound like. These are the pain points that we solve. These are the messaging pillars. This is what we stand for. This is what we don't stand for. And it just kind of helps, especially when the CEO is trying to remove themselves more and more from their business, that then your team can start to understand, this is not an ideal client. We should not be taking this project on. This is an ideal client. This is an ideal project. This is not an ideal project. Having those parameters to understand when they fall into the brand is good. But also, just honestly, most of it is, hey, what is it that you do? Or, hey, do you all do this? And instead of it being a pause and holding until somebody can respond, everybody on the team has the tools and are equipped to answer those questions.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and that's super important as you grow in business and as you add team members, and that obviously adds a lot of complexity, and keeping the brand equity really strong in the company, I feel like is much easier in a small organization. Like, I'm still meeting with a lot of our fulfillment team, so and it comes out of my mouth all the time. Yeah. So I think they're getting it all the time. Yeah. But then what happens when I'm not the one managing all of those people because I can't manage the amount of people we have? It's like, well, that has to then be, poured into that other person. So then they're, continuing to speak it. But it's also like, I'm just way more passionate about it than anyone else.
Which is normal.
Yeah.
I will say, I think not only with the messaging and how we're talking about ourselves, but you're sending mixed signals if you're not being consistent with your visuals. So if I can feel like I am beating a dead horse at this point, but if your visuals on social don't look the same, if you're using a new template on Canva every week for a new presentation and nothing is looking the same, if you're changing the captions of how all your videos look, you look like a hot mess. That's how you look like a hot mess. And then you're sending out mixed signals. So when you look like a hot mess, people expect you to be cheap.
Yeah.
And so if you're not cheap, you can't look like a hot mess. I think that's a way you're sending mixed signals. I also think that when you are adding more friction to the process, you're adding more mixed signals. Like, if so-and-so sent out an email and then somebody else is answering to another email, but then saying the same thing, like anything that is essentially making you look like you don't know what you're doing is not a good look for your brand.
It makes me think of someone was telling me that they were sending quotes for a project, and someone entered, like the client had entered the quote, and like 3 different people responded to the quote, but all with 3 different prices. And no one, because they don't have a system right now that's like marking that a quote has been sent.
Oh my God. So then the client's like, you're just making up numbers. Yeah. So why am I paying?
System, they plug in a bunch of stuff, and it's like, they all perceived things differently, and what they plugged in was different than every single person. I mean, it was really close. The numbers were really close, but still. I was like, that's incredible.
Yeah, make you look like a hot mess. And the thing is, when that happens, like the trust kind of starts to erode, because it's like, if you're a hot mess, what's it going to be like to work with you?
Yeah, if you have 3 people sending me proposals, I mean, I'm thinking about like from my agency, it's like if someone reached out and wanted to know like what our pricing was and they got 3 different prices.
Yeah, from 3 different people
on our team, they would be like, I'm not even responding to this email.
No.
We're not working with you.
No, immediately. So,
but I don't, that doesn't, there's no way that could even happen. So
no.
But it's true. If you're going to have a luxury product or service and you're going to charge for it, then your processes, your brand, like it all has to match. It all has to be up here.
Yeah. Anything that is client facing needs to all be consistent. And
very professional. Like,
yeah, I tell people this all the time. I'm like, I know that you're probably tired of using your color, and that's why you all have like now strayed away and we're doing something else in Canva. Like, I get it. And you are going to be the first person that gets so sick and tired of your visual identity. But the thing is like that you can't, every time you just break it, it's hurting you more than you realize.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just look like you kind of don't know. It looks like you're, DIYing a business.
Yeah, and it can also make people really question, even when they're getting on the discovery call with you, like they come in skeptical rather than like, oh, wow, I'm about to get on a call with an expert. Like, I'm excited. Do I have the ability to work with them right now? Mm-hmm. Or is this, going to be out of my budget? It changes that. It changes every part of your business, honestly.
So I would say if
sales and fulfillment and all of it.
So I would be saying, if you are not sure if you're sending mixed signals, this is what I would do if you're not going to hire us. But if you are unsure, I would go around the team to anybody who's client facing and say, what is it that we do? And who do we help? And can you tell us why we do what we do?
Yeah.
And if nobody can answer any of those questions, you got a problem. Mm-hmm. If everybody can kind of answer the question, but it's not really the same, then you just need to have a little alignment chat. So I would do that. First, ask the whole team if they know how to respond to that. Then I would be doing a brand, like a visual audit, like look at your, and really come in from how does my client see this? Not, what does my website look like? It looks so cool. I'm the best thing ever. But really thinking of, if I was a client and I don't know this industry, really look at it. Does my website explain what we do, why we do it, why we're different, why you should trust us? Is it instilling trust automatically, or is it giving people pause? Once that website is like looked through, then I'd be thinking of, okay, what is the interaction between a client saying, okay, yes, I want to work with you. What does the form look like? Does the form work?
Yeah.
Is it going somewhere?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who gets the form? What happens after that? Like just going through that client journey a little bit to understand what the client is experiencing, and then what is it that they're experiencing at the end will really help.
Big time.
And then really look at your social media channels. And even if you have higher ups or C-suite level on your social media, on LinkedIn, like what are they posting about? Do you have some parameters around how they talk about your business or not? Or is everybody just making it up?
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely need to be monitoring like what your employees in your C-suite are posting on LinkedIn if you run a business.
Yeah.
Because if they have on there that they work at your company, then that is affecting your brand. And so you need to have some type of parameters. Obviously, you don't have control over their personal social media profiles, but if they're going to label that they work for your company, like there needs to be some type of policy in place internally.
So yeah, that's how I would look at how I would really be looking at what is the vibe we're giving off, and are we looking how we want to be looking to our client, or are we just a little bit of a hot mess?
Yeah. That's a wrap on this episode of We Know Marketing, We Promise. If you found this helpful, hit subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your business besties. Want more? Follow us for updates, behind the scenes, and plenty of marketing gems.